Unfortunately, it's very difficult in this kind of a situation to actually show you what happens. First of all, because I would have to use real bank account information, and they usually get kind of cranky if I tell them I want a fake bank account just to use with training. And also, if I used my current accounts, then of course you would see all of my transactions, and we all know that's not a good idea. So I'll apologize now for having to finish this up with a PowerPoint, but I think you'll get the idea. Basically, you're almost done. What happens next is that QuickBooks will try to connect to your bank and verify your credentials. So can it make the connection, and do you have a correct username or customer name and password? If for some reason it's refused, you'll be prompted to make corrections, or you can cancel out and have to talk to your bank and see what it is you're doing wrong. But if it's successful, then you'll basically be activated and you'll have access to something called the Online Center. This is very similar to the other centers that we already have in QuickBooks. We have the Customer Center and the Employee Center. This is just another one of those things. When you're connected, you'll know because you'll see that that center is available. In the center, you can do all kinds of things, just like with the ones you're used to. If I'm looking at an employee, for example, I can see the details about that employee. I can see what their transactions are as far as payroll. In this center, you'll be able to view your balances, download transactions, and match transactions to things you already have in QuickBooks. So how do we get to that downloading transactions part? Well, from the center, you'll just click the button at the top that says Send Received Transactions. If it can directly connect, remember we just talked about that, a direct connect, you'll just see the transactions. If it can't do a direct connect, and then it'll have to use your bank's web page, and of course you'll see that in Internet Explorer when it opens up. It'll go through the download process, and that could take anything from a couple seconds to several minutes, depending on how many transactions you have, how busy the internet is, all of that kind of stuff. So after it's downloaded, you're going to click the option that says Add Transactions to QuickBooks. This is going to go ahead and try to match everything that just came through the bank to what you already have in QuickBooks. And if it can make a match, that's great. If it can't make a match, then you're going to have to do a little bit of work. It could be that you entered it, but you entered it using a different vendor name and it wasn't able to kind of make up the difference. You know, a lot of times with electronic calculations, it doesn't come through as just the name of the business like we'd think it would. So there can be a little bit of that, in which case you'll just select one, select the download, and say these are a match, and you'll be good to go. Or if you didn't enter it into QuickBooks yet, then you'll need to actually make up the transaction. After all of those are matched, then you can close out the window and everything will be good. You could then go on to reconciling the account, for example. Remember that once you have online services, it's not just downloading your transactions, which is a huge help. It also means that when you write checks or you make bank transfers within QuickBooks, you can make those online. Instead of checking to be printed, you can check to use online. And the next time you connect, it will go ahead and either make the check or the payment or transfer the funds. I don't know what I would do anymore if I didn't have online banking, because it's basically what I do all the time. If I have to actually go to a branch, I have to make a trip, I have to go in, have to actually comb my hair maybe. I'm just kidding about that. But I do like using online banking because it gives me a lot of flexibility to do my banking anytime I want. And you know what? I also found out that I keep up with things a lot better. I tend to reconcile my accounts more with online than I ever did with paper.